Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's Dykenstein here, bringing you another Guilty Gear Strive video, and today we're going to be doing a beginner guide for Guilty Gear Strive. So if this is your first time playing Guilty Gear or your first fighting game, this video is for you. We're going to be going over movement, offense, defense, meter usage, burst, risk, and wall breaks. Now, if you don't know what any of these terms mean, don't worry, we will get you started. So first off the bat, talking about movement in Guilty Gear. So every character in the game essentially has a couple of movement options. Obviously, you can walk forward, you can walk backwards, you can run forward. Now, and not every character can run forward. Some bigger characters like Potemkin can't run forward. And then there's backdash. Everybody pretty much got a backdash. Then there is the jump option. So you can jump forward, jump back, you can neutral jump, and then you can air dash. Once again, not every character can air dash. Like Nagariyuki or Potemkin, they can air dash. Then there is also super jump. So if you press down and then go up, you can actually super jump. Now, one thing about certain characters is they have more options. So Soul right here, he can jump twice and that's it, or he could jump one time and it's an air dash. Milia has 3 options in the air, so she can jump once or twice and then air dash like this, or she could jump once and then double air dash. So there are a couple of characters with unique movement options in the air. Another one being Chip, who has a triple jump. She doesn't have that. She only has a double air dash, but there are some unique movements in this game. All right, last thing I want to talk about for movement is actual momentum. So when you run, you can see when you jump, there is a momentum that carries over. This can actually carry over to your forward jump as well. This also carries over to your actual, like, just normal dash on the ground. You can see the character actually slides a little bit. You do have to keep that in mind because you can just run into things at certain times. So we'll talk about some other options later that will actually help you with moving around the screen without worrying about running into things. Now, talking about offense in this game, this is going to be a 5-button fighter. So you have your punch, which is right here. You have your kick, your slash, your heavy slash, and your dust button. Now, every one of these buttons is going to be able to do it in the air as well as on the ground crouching. So all these buttons. Now, one thing unique to this game is there is a close proximity normal. So if I do my slash button close up, it actually changes the normal. So this is it far away and this is it close up. So pressing the same button, but it actually just gives you a different normal. Every character has one of these. So this is Soul's, and this is like his punch right here, and he does like a sort of different punch, like an uppercut punch when he's close up. So everybody has one of these. Just keep that in mind. Now, characters in this game also have command normals. So a couple of command normals for Milia here is going to be 6K, and she has 6S right here. Same with Soul, he has a couple, 6S right here, 6H for him right here. So there are command normals, and then there is your P. So 6P, this is actually your anti-air in this game. So this is going to be the universal anti-air in this game for characters. There are other buttons that can anti-air, but this is the main universal way to anti-air opponents within this game. Next thing I want to talk about is actual jump cancels on normals. So some normals can be jump canceled, and this will like help you with your offense and stuff like this. So right here, 5K for her is jump cancelable. Slow slash is jump cancelable. And I believe those are only 2 jump cancelable normals. Same with Soul. So he has slow slash. He has his 5K as well. And I believe that's also his only buttons that are jump canceled. But yeah, characters have buttons that can be jump canceled pretty much. So explore your character and see exactly what buttons can be canceled. Now, talking about Gatlings in this game, very important. Now, Gatlings have changed from the other games such as Exard. They're a lot more limited in this game, but you do have options for Gatlings. So a lot of characters can do their crouching punch multiple times, even their standing. This will also like give you a block string. There is also Gatlings when it comes to your command normal. So a lot of characters can utilize their command normals as other things. So a lot of characters can't like Gatling into like other normals that well. There's like, I think universally, or a lot of characters can do 2K into 2D. So your down kick into your down dust button can be universally. I think that's pretty much universal. And then there are your close slash buttons. So this button does a lot for you. Once again, is jump cancelable on hit or block. On top of that, there is, you can go into 2S. So your down slash, you can cancel this into your heavy. So a lot of characters can do slash into heavy slash. That's like universal. But this slow slash give you a lot of options because you can go into 2S. One of the only buttons I know for a decent amount of characters that can go into that. And then it could go into your sweep as well. Now, once again, normals that don't normally change into other things, like your 2P, for example, it can't really go into anything else. There's no like cancels. you can always go into your command normals. So command normals like this, my 6H with Milia, and then my 6P with Milia are going to be the command normals here. And of course, her 6K as well is also a command normal. So you can go into command normals if you can't find it. So once again, just explore your character when it comes to offense, and that will help out. Now, another big thing to talk about for offense is obviously special canceling. So obviously a bunch of characters have special moves. Some Amelias here are going to be disc here. There is Lust Shaker. There's this. There's a couple other heavy discs. But yeah, so special canceling is very important. This is going to give you frame traps. So to stop people from like mashing on certain things, you can hit people with these during your press. So you can go into the command normal and then go into the actual special move like that. Once again, just special cancel, and that will help your offense dramatically. Soul right here is a perfect example. Doing something like this into Gunflame, very good. So doing pressure like this, just special canceling on your actual attacks. This will help you frame trap people, and you know, sometimes it could be a safer ender than just ending with the actual normal that you're using, because ending with certain normals aren't good. See what buttons you're pressing that are safe on block, and also special moves, because some special moves are also punishable, like doing this with Milia is also punishable. So make sure you're doing, like, you know, the options that put you the safest at certain times in the game. Okay, now to talk about defense basics. So holding back will block for you, and holding down back will also block for you. Now holding back will block overheads and mids, and holding down back will block lows and mids. Now most people will block holding down back first and react to overheads by holding up, because there are less overhead attacks in the game than there are low attacks. A lot of characters have fast lows that they'll use like this, but overheads are typically like really big and slow, so you could typically try to react to the overheads more times than trying to react to the lows. Now when you block attacks in this game, there will be pushback, so you will eventually get out of your opponent's pressure. But there is a way to get out of pressure a little bit sooner, and that is using the FD mechanic. So this mechanic actually pushes the opponent back further, but at the cost of your meter. As you can see, my meter is actually draining for using it, so you want to use it sparingly. But there is a big difference between the two. So this is a regular block string from Soul without using it, and this is me using FD. Notice how the punch actually whiffed because I pushed them out further because of the mechanic. Now the mechanic also has other properties. This game, like a lot of other fighting games, have chip damage. So when a character does special moves, you actually take a little bit of damage on block. As you can see, Milia is losing health from blocking Gunflame. There is a way to negate this, and that's using the FD. So when you use FD, you actually won't lose health. So if I spam this a couple times, and then I put it on this, you see I'm not losing health at all. She won't use health. So this is something you want to do if you don't want to get chipped out. You see you're like close to death, and you want to basically block special moves with FD. This can also be used in air, and is for another specific reason that we're going to talk about a little bit later in this video. FD can also be used to FD break, which is another good defensive option. So once again, I was talking about you can use normals to stop certain characters do this. This could be good for like a character like Milia, because her P hits so high and she can actually combo from if she hits the opponent, but it also stops her momentum, so she don't have to use her meter. She doesn't gain a lot of meter like other characters sometimes, certain situations. But besides that, you can actually use it to stop. So you can see there's the dash momentum, and then you have to break, but this instantly stops you. So if you notice that you're going to be running inside of a Gunflame like this, you can use that to instantly stop. Or you could use this to like actually just stop yourself, period, so you don't run into like normals. Because if Soul is doing something like this, you don't want to run into that. So you can stop yourself and probably punish him instead, just by making it whiff, something like that. So you can use this sparingly to like stop your momentum and stuff like that. Just another good movement option to understand, so you can actually put yourself in better situations. Okay, now it's time to talk about meter inside this game and how it actually works. So right now I have no meter. So basically how you gain meter in this game loves for you to do offensive things. So running in this game, moving towards your opponent, in any way, that will give you meter. So you see, even air dashing will give me a little bit of meter. Running at them will give me meter. And of course, block strings will give you a ton of meter as well. And of course, hitting your opponent will also give you meter. Now, the defensive person also gets a little bit of meter. And when they're getting hit, they also gain meter too. So let me show you that situation of the opponent actually getting hit. So as you can see, I'm gaining meter, but they are also gaining a little bit of meter as well. So you also gain meter from taking hits and blocking, but the person that's doing the most offensive thing is getting the most meter in the situations. Now, as far as using meter go, there's a couple ways to use meter. One is going to be your RC, and the other is going to be your super. So RC stands for Roman cancel, if you don't know by now. This is when you press 3 buttons that isn't dust. So you can press any 3 buttons that you would like, as long as it isn't dust. You just gotta have meter to do it. So as you see, I can press any 3 buttons. It just can't be dust with one of the buttons. Dust will actually give you burst if you press a button with it, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So once again, using meter, so you have your supers. So supers will take 50% meter. So this is Amelia super. This is her other super right here. As you can see, they both take 50 meter. Now, how you know you got 50 meter is if you have that little cog wheel spinning down there. That's when you know you hit the 50 meter mark and you can use one of your supers. Or you can use it for RCs. Now, RCs is going to be another cool mechanic in this game that I will make a complete video on explaining it fully, because there's a lot of things to talk about here. But all you need to know for right now is there are a couple RCs that you can utilize. There's this blue RC, which is one you use in neutral. This will significantly slow your opponent down, so you have more times to do things. So you can do combos that normally wouldn't work before, like stuff like that don't normally combo. 2K and 2K don't combo, but because of the slowdown, you actually can get combos you weren't able to get, or you can actually go for offensive situations that you weren't able to do before because of the super slowdown. There is the purple RC, which basically like resets you. Basically, this is something that happens off a projectile. So if you do a projectile, it will happen. If you do a normal, you can put it back. This will happen. This is also very good for anything that like puts you in the air. So for Amelia, her hair card puts her in the air a little bit, as you can see. So at the startup of this animation, you can see that she's actually jumping in the air a little bit. You can use this to your advantage and actually use that to get an air attack. So any characters that have things that like put them in the air and stuff like that, you can use that to your advantage. There is the red RC, which pops them up in the air at the end, as you can see there. And then the last RC is going to be a defensive RC. This is going to be your yellow one. This gets the opponent off you for 50 meter. Now, the person who does this actually is going to be plus. As you can see, I was able to jump before him because I'm more plus than him. I gained my advantage first. So because of that, you're able to move first. And so you're able to press your advantage a little bit. Not too much, but you do have a slight advantage against your opponent when you use yellow RC to get them off of you. Now, talking more about the RCs a little bit, there are a lot of mechanics to go into it. There is a way to make it faster. So if you press a button right away, as you can see, you can actually stop it from actually doing the whole animation and pop them up in the air from the red RC. You can do this from any of the RCs. As you can see, I can do it from this one. Rather than looking at the clock, there's a clock effect that happens. Rather than having that, you can basically execute immediately out of it. As you can see, it's not always the best situation, but it is some situations that is useful. There's also a unique mechanic with it where you can actually move it during this. So as you can see, this is just it by itself. I can just dash with it, but you can actually move it back and forth, including up and down. So I can go up and down with it. Yeah, I drift it down, and then you can drift up actually too, like that. So once again, this is me doing it forward. Even with things that move forward, you can go backwards like that. Really cool that you can actually face stuff out like this. Once again, I can go down, I can go up. You know, you can go all 4 directions with it. All you have to do is input whatever you're doing and then press the input you want to go before you do the RC. So I want to go forward, I press forward. I want to go back, I press back, and then the RC button. And it will register that as you want to drift in that direction. Very, very cool. One unique property that comes to this actual mechanic is going to be the ability to get a little bit more damage if you wait to do it. So as you can see, if I do this combo right here with the RC, it does 45 damage. So once again, 45 damage, right? But if you wait a little bit, as you see the screen goes dark, if you wait a little bit and then wait until it comes back, the screen lights up again, you actually can get more damage, because when you're in the RC state, it actually lowers your damage by a little bit. So rather than 45, I got 48. It's not too much, but it is something that can help you optimize your damage once you're ready to do those type of things. Certain characters really want to utilize this to get the maximum damage they could possibly get, but other characters don't really worry about it and actually want to use the other versions to actually get certain combos that wouldn't normally work, and that usually gives them more damage and stuff like that. But yeah, this is one other example for that. So now to talk about burst. So burst is going to be your dust button, this button right here, and any other button along with it. So as long as you press any other button along with this button, you will get your burst. It's going to take that meter at the top, your burst meter. Now, this thing will gradually fill up over time as the match goes on, and also as you take more damage, it will gradually fill back up as well. So that's how it's going to fill back up. Now, what is applications are for? This is the thing that's basically your get off me tool, or it can be also be used as like an advantage tool as well. So basically, there are two main bursts within the game. There's a defensive one and basically an offensive one. So here is your regular burst right here. So basically, if I do a combo with Soul like that, you can burst and get them off you like that. There's also the other burst, which is this one, the offensive one. So if you do it in neutral, you will actually get meter like that. As you can see, you get 100% of your meter back when you do this type of burst. Now, both of these bursts can actually be baited, so you have to be careful. One is relatively safe, so this one right here is going to be punishable. So the one for offense is going to be more punishable, as you can see. Then the other one is going to be a little bit harder to punish. And I block this. It's going to be a little bit harder to punish, as you can see. See, a little bit hard. I'm not getting actual punish. So it's a little bit more safer than the other one, but it is punishable, so it's just relatively safe. So just keep that in mind. Now there is another burst you could do, which is the OTG burst. So this is a burst that will happen if you want to burst on the ground. So you can see right here. So if he actually hits me, see how long it takes for her to recover? I can actually recover right away. As soon as I touch the ground, I can burst. Don't worry about soul bursting. I just have him auto burst on one hit. But basically what happens here is if your opponent's about to pressure you, you can basically just do a burst. If I do something like this with soul and you're scared of the pressure and you don't want to take it like that, you can just burst right away. Just like that. Now this won't give you gold burst, but it is a way to get the opponent off you as soon as they are trying to touch you. Now there is a way to get gold burst from this, which is pretty hard. You have to almost get like a reversal timing, like as soon as you get off the ground with this, like that right there. So you can let it happen. It's just pretty hard for it to happen. So if you want to delay it even further and try to go for the reversal timing to try to get your meter, that is something you can do as well. And that's pretty much all the essentials for bursting. Now to talk about the risk gauge. So the risk gauge is that small bar right underneath your burst. This is going to fill up as you are blocking. So as you're blocking, this bar is going to gradually fill up, and once it gets to max, which you don't want to happen, that's when it becomes very scary. So you see it starts to get red, and once it gets there where you see that little conscious sign, that's where things get scared, because anything your opponent does is going to give them a counter hit, and is going to give them a heavy version of a counter hit, which heavy versions of counter hits are very strong. We're going to talk about them in just a second. But this mechanic can be negated by doing something we were talking about before, which is your FD. So if you are FDing like this, you won't take any of the actual risk damage right there. Another property of risk that you have to keep in mind is the amount of risk that you get increases if you block something in the air. So if I do this close slash right here, Notice how much risk that it does. Just like around the middle of the B is where it ends. But if I jump with soul like this, and then I block that same button, look where it's at now. It's past the B. So you do increase the risk gauge for blocking things in the air. This is why if you're going to block something in the air and you notice it, and you don't want your risk gauge to increase, you also can FD in the air. And this will negate, you know, the chip. I mean, not the chip, but the risk. Now, just as a little demonstration to show what happens if someone actually hits you while your risk is completely jacked up, you could be looking at damage like this from even more high damaging characters. And you pretty much get the gist from there. But yeah, a lot of damage can happen to you very, very fast when this bar is completely jacked up. So make sure you're using FD to not only push opponents away, but to prevent this situation from happening from you if you're getting pressured to death. So now I want to talk about counter hits. So basically how counter hits happen is when you are attacking the same time as your opponent and your opponent hits you first before you hit them, this will enable a counter hit. Now there are 3 stages of counter hits. There are from your punches and kicks. Then there is the slash versions of counter hits where you actually hear the announcer say counter and the screen shakes a little bit. And then there is the esports counter hits, which is going to be your heavies. As you can see right here, these are the ones you don't want to get hit by. The giant counter on the screen like that. This is where things change because this game has a gravity system when it comes to the combos, and this actively changes the gravity system dramatically to where combos that didn't work before can now work. So stuff like this from the slash, because of the counter hit, now works. This combo would not work normally. Same thing with this. So this combo with Milia normally would not work. You couldn't get a combo from this unless it was a counter hit like this. So recognizing the counter hit state is very important for optimizing your damage. So see what your character can do with counter hits. See exactly, you know, which combos are available to you when you get these counter hits. It's going to be very important for fleshing out your game plan. One other important thing to note about the counter hits is special moves also apply to it as well. So you have to see which special moves are going to have each state. So as you can see, Milia's Lust Shaker here and Projectile has the light version state. Her other attack here has the medium, and she doesn't have a special move that's going to have the heavy. However, Soul here also has the light state. He also has the medium state ones, but he also has the big heavy version with this attack right here. So see what your character counter hit special moves are and see if it drastically change what combos are available to you as well. And the last thing I want to talk about for this Guilty Gear Strive beginner's guide is the wall break system and how it actively affects the momentum of the match. So basically what you need to know from the get-go is that as long as your combo is, the longer it goes, the more opportunity is going to be that a wall break what actually happens. Once they splat to the wall, the next hit will send them past the wall, giving you additional damage and a positive bonus. Now the positive bonus is actually going to give you meter over time and is going to increase the meter that you get from doing your offensive options as well. So just to showcase that a little bit, as you can see, her meter is gradually going up, and if I run it, the opponent is going to go up a lot. So this is going to give you a very good meter management, a very good meter boost compared to your opponents. Now, another thing to notice about the wall is there's actually a way to stop yourself from actually breaking the wall right away. It could be useful for some characters and not as useful for other characters. So if you happen to have 50 meter already, then you can spin an RC and this will not break the wall for you. So an example of that would be this. I could do that, and then I could set up this. So for some characters that don't want to go back to a neutral situation, this is an option for them. I know some characters in certain matchups don't want to go back to that situation. Like, for example, Potemkin in certain matchups wouldn't want to go back to that, especially once he's already at low health. This will actually make the match much harder for characters like that. There is another special property to the wall. So if you break the wall with a super, you actually get a bonus. The bonus being you actually have frame advantage. So as you can see, the opponent actually has to get up and you have time to walk over to them and get a meaty attack. So this will allow you to press your advantage after breaking the wall. So if you happen to have meter, it's in your best interest to probably break a wall with your most damaging super. This way you can spend some meter, get some extra damage, and you're going to be able to gain that meter back drastically because of the boost, and you're going to be able to get a press advantage on your opponent because of the frame advantage that you get from the super. Now, when you're splat against the wall, there's also some unique tech options that you can actually do. So one is going to be able to basically pop you upwards, and one is going to be able to zoop you across the other side of the screen. So let's showcase those right now. So if you want to be able to pop up, just basically hold back while you're on the wall, and this happens if the opponent doesn't hit you one more time while you're on the wall. Just like that, you'll pop up. The other one, like I said, is when you zoop across the screen. You do this by basically holding forward. So if you hold forward while on the wall and they don't hit you, you'll zoop over them like this. There's also another tech. You can just neutral tech down to the ground. This basically just happens if you don't do anything. So basically just sit there and wait till your character touch the ground, and then you can start blocking. That will send you downward. So those are the tech options on the wall. And that pretty much does it for my Guilty Gear Strive beginner's guide. I hope you all found this useful. Like I said, if you want a more detailed discussion on any of these topics or video for these topics, definitely let me know down in the comments below. As I stated, I'm going to already be working on a RC one just because I think that mechanic has a lot to talk about, and I want people to fully understand that mechanic so people can use it to its fullest. Anyway, if you like anything I had to say today, drop me a like. I greatly appreciate it. And if you hear more from me, follow me on my socials. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so the next video goes live. As always, my name is Daikin, and I'll see you next time. Signing out.